Hey, what's up? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the BINACT podcast, where we talk music, the people that make it, and the communities that listen to it. If you're watching, you already know that I have a guest, and if you're listening, you have not heard my guest voice for tonight. But guess what? We're back doing audio and video artist interviews. Yay! So, first things first, I want to gush real quick because I've actually been planning on this interview slash like dish session about my favorite EP this year. That's not a stretch. It's one of my favorite EPs this year. It's like it's very much at the top, and I just happen to be able to be in close proximity to one of the artists that made one of the my favorite EPs this year. I am virtually sitting across from AE the Cool, who hails from Augusta, Georgia. And we're going to get a little bit into like the BINACT AE lore a little later. But I think the first time that I heard AE was at her Jubilee Festival in 2018. One of those festivals. You
Mhm.
did one of the that was the first time I heard you. And
Okay.
then we'll talk about this a little more. Then
Okay.
we made a connection through a mutual like music blogger, um Ebony, who
Mhm.
I don't remember what, like, it used to be Random Elbows, but now I don't. Bars and Beats. Bars and
Yeah.
Beats is what she goes by now on
Mhm.
Instagram
Yes.
and the like. And then we have another connection through our mutual friend National. So we have like
Yeah.
all these connections, but she's also just a wonderful songstress that happens to be an hour away on, the southeast coast from me. So I get really excited when I get to talk about music, but especially my favorite projects, and I get to talk to the artists. So, first things first, AE, welcome to the BINAC podcast. And tell the people about yourself. And if you want, you can let them know what your bio says about you.
Okay. Well, of course, I'm A.E. the Cool. I am a singer-songwriter based in Augusta, Georgia. I'm from born and raised in Augusta, Georgia. And what my bio says about me is that, like, I don't know it verbatim. I feel like I should, but
It's
the
fine.
the most important part that it says about me is that I am a storyteller, blending the sounds of R&B, jazz, and hip hop, a splash of hip hop in there. And so that I think that just really sums me up. I'm a storyteller. I love to write music and just give a story, girl.
I love that. I love that. And I really love I asked the question like what your bio says about you because I think that it's really not like I obviously we know that like, artists make things, they tell stories, they do that.
Mhm.
But I want to know like what your bio says about you because they're like you are your art, but you also aren't your art, if that makes sense. Like you
Right.
are, but you aren't. So
Yeah.
sometimes, interviews will start with like, tell us about yourself. And like, you know, AE is like, the storyteller, the
Mhm.
writer. And like, like your real life goes to work and like we do other things. So I always
Yeah.
like to make that distinction.
Mhm.
And I like I said, like you are your art, but you also aren't your art. It's weird, but
Right.
at the same time. But speaking of which, I kind of want to lead in.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna go like on a mini tangent about, well, not tangent, but like just a mini like gush session about chasing love. So I need to hear personally,
Mhm.
how you got to making this EP. And first I want to say that I'll link everything in the show notes. But chasing, it's 5 songs.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Five songs.
5 songs, and all 5 songs have music videos. First of all, I just want to talk about. I mean, first of all, artists doing music videos is such a dead art. Like, they're done. Artists do music videos, but they don't do music videos. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Mhm.
kind of like more promotional material than it is like again storytelling and like kind of doing anything visually artistic. Like the art of like actually kind of making it production just feels like it's fizzling out. But with that being
Mhm.
said, how did you even get the time, money, resources, mental capacity to make 5 music videos for each of those songs and like have them come out so nice?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was a lot of thugging it out for sure. And I had an amazing creative director, Daphne Curry, and camera operator, Nino, shots by Nino, that kind of helped me along the way to kind of make bang for my buck, I guess, as the people say. And we just kind of did it in a weekend. Like I had makeup on for like 24 hours. I had a show in between like my set. Like I had to shoot all day and I had a show that night. And I
Oh my
took like a
god.
mini nap and like woke up that morning because I went to bed that it was that morning and then I woke up a few hours and then went back to the set. So, shouts out to my makeup artist, the official plus size Barbie. Like, she just did an amazing job to where that beat could last 24 hours. And, I just had so many people around me that were just, ready to work and willing to support me. And I was like, this is what I have. How can I take this and make it into this? So I think having a really good group of people who were all like-minded and wanted to create the best work, knowing like, okay, she has, this is what she has to work with, let's take it and make it the best it can be. And I think that's just what made the magic for me. So mhm.
That, and it's a testament to having community in like in the artist, like in it being an artist and having like your artistic people around you.
Mhm.
um so you shot all 5 of those videos in one day?
Yes. Well, technically 2 days. It was 2 full days.
I mean,
We tried.
still.
Yeah, so yeah, yeah. So we started early Saturday morning and then ended like Sunday afternoon, maybe 4 or 5 ish. And so it was straight, really honestly straight through. I feel like everybody else got to kind of go home, take a break, and come back that morning. That wasn't the original plan, but just, trying to pull everything together. Like we kind of ran out of time and everybody was like, yo, like, is everybody willing to come back? And they were. But me, like when I left the set, like I had to go do the cool down that night and then I had to come back. So it was a wild time. But yes, it like I guess a little over 24 hours it took.
I have to say, first of all, I urge anyone who has not seen those videos. First of all, I've been talking about this EP since it came out. So I think I mentioned it. I mentioned it on the podcast. I think I played some because I was doing good for a little bit. I was doing a couple live streams over here. So like
Hmm.
on YouTube, you can't get like copyright, whatever.
Yeah.
So as long like indie artists, I can always play and like it doesn't flag them at all. Like I played
Yeah.
some songs where, like for instance, FYI, I found out that Jameson, the artist, does not like come get you if you play his music on stream, at least
Hmm.
not on YouTube.
Yeah.
Jameson, I think FKA Twigs, because I don't remember, but I guess I accidentally played Twigs, or because it like my channel, since it's not monetized, I don't think there's any strikes. Like you can't, nothing happens to you because I'm not making any money on the
Yeah.
channel.
Right.
But
Right.
it'll be like, hey, this is, copyrighted music or whatever. Jameson, I believe, allows you to play it, and maybe if you're not monetized, FKA Twigs. And there was somebody else who, like, where if I accidentally played it, they just let it rock or they didn't say anything or mute the stream or whatever.
Hmm.
But I tried or made a valiant effort to play independent artists on the stream so they can get the plays. And then, like, again, nobody comes to get your channel.
Yeah.
So I've been playing it for a while. And so first, I just want to reiterate for everyone to go listen to the EP. It is on all streaming platforms, and I'm going to link it,
Yeah.
but that's fine. Second, after you listen to the EP, you need to watch all the videos because I mean, I don't want to pick a favorite song, but but the song that I gravitate to the most, especially because
Hmm.
it I feel like it hits me and it like when I was in this era, is
Yeah.
Hennessy. Like I feel like that Like that's such a it's such a like I feel like we hear always hear like a lot of women making like breakup music or like whatever, right? Like we hear that,
Hmm.
but I don't hear like we don't get too many more ring the alarms. Like I or it's
Yeah.
more like it's like either one way or the other. Like I feel
Right.
like I think about Cardi B's what is it? Be Careful.
Hmm.
We get those, but like it's either like the sad like you broke my heart, fuck you,
Hmm.
or it's just like I don't know. There haven't been too many songs that make me feel the way that I need to feel when I hear Hennessy, and then the
Yeah.
video is so it's like chef's kiss.
No, thank
Um,
you.
and
It's
so
like,
I
yeah, I'm
just
just like talking right at you. Like,
right, and so like it's
yes.
just so like like I said, I think other songs capture the energy, but I don't know.
Hmm.
I have a heavy bias towards Hennessy because I needed Hennessy when I was going through. Like I needed this EP. It's very much like big sis help. Like it's going through all the things of like having love and then like losing it and figuring it out, and it's very
Yeah.
like big sis energy. Like it's like I feel like instead of whatever I was listening to that angsty shit like when I was going through breakups when I was
Hmm.
like 16 and then like 21 or whatever. Like I needed
Yeah.
this because it's like the encapsulation, like it's from beginning to end. So like it gives
Hmm.
you the full spectrum of it. So like talk about making that. Like talk about how do you make kind of like a project that actually kind of spans the full range of emotion for like love and loss and everything in between.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because it was kind of like a puzzle. I wrote Chasing Love and the villain around 2021, I think. So early on, like during the pandemic, I believe the villain might have been written even before the pandemic, if I like go back and kind of check everything. And the villain was very fun. Like the villain, it the story that I'm telling, I haven't really experienced that. It was just literally like just a fun kind of story that I created. And
Nice.
then Chasing Love was something that I was actually going through, that I wrote and just kind of had on the back burner. And then I actually wrote Chasing Love and Hennessy around the same time. Hennessy was another one that was like, I kept getting like, oh, AE, we love you and we love to vibe to you, but we don't have anything that we can like turn up to. And so at the time, I was like, man, I gotta give them something that turned up to. And I wrote that song. And then there was another song about making money that just kind of like never like came to life. But it was that song that kind of stuck with me. But a lot of these songs that I kind of held and like, just had in my back pocket.
Right.
And then I had the experience of Red Light, which was like a very impactful, something that I actually went through for me, like impactful to the point to where the project was actually supposed to be called Red Light, but then I changed it like last minute, like right before I um released it. I made that last minute change, but it was just all of these things that I had gone through with Memorial too, because Memorial actually came out in 2018.
Mhm.
Ooh, am I lying? I might be lying. I might be lying. I'm trying to. The pandemic like has messed up my sense of time.
It's
So
okay.
I say I
Spotify will tell us. Hold on. I'm
yeah.
a
Well, there
continue.
was
I'll keep
actually
looking.
there was a so I put out a YouTube video with 24 films, but I want to say it was the pandemic because I believe we had masks on. So I think it was during the pandemic that I actually put out Memorial. So Memorial was first. And then while that was happening, I had Chasing Love and Hennessy and then Red Light. And then I looked and I just kind of had these songs that, the three songs, Memorial, Chasing Love, and Red Light, were things that I had actually experienced. And at first, it's a funny story because I was working on a project that was like very, I guess, like kind of like sex driven. Like I was like, oh, I want to be sexy. I want to try and like show a little shoulder and
Grown woman.
yeah, like I want to do this and I want to try it. And it just wasn't working. Like it wasn't me. Like love those songs. I feel like I submitted them for them to be used for like syncs or something. But it wasn't me. And that's a part of me. And I would love to, there's something that I would love to express, but it just wasn't time. And this, I was on the fence about because I was like, it's so personal. And in the past songs I'll put out, they've been very vague, but this was the first time that I put out something specific to where if you knew me and you knew
Yeah.
if you knew what was going on, exactly what's happening. And so that scared me. But I knew that there were so many other people that were going through the same thing, that have gone through the same thing, that could relate to the story that I kind of put together
Right.
throughout the past 4 years of my life and this experience that I had. And so I put it together and I called it Red Light at first. And then I changed it to Chasing Love. One, because of the cover art, and that's another story, but also because, after like seeing the cover art change and it going from red to the gray that you see,
Ah, yeah,
it
that makes sense. But the cover art is so good.
it
Like, it's
right.
so good.
He's we Because I sent him, and just a little sidestep, I sent him a Tina Turner reference. And there's these
Mm,
these black and white photos of Tina Turner, and I was like, I want to do something like this, but in red. And so we took the pictures and he sent them to me in gray. And in my immediate mindset, I was like, I love this, but can you turn it red? And he sent it red, and I was like, ooh,
oh, what is this much?
it's got to be gray. It got to be
This
gray.
is much.
And so, but I was like, I don't want to, like, I could have been like super artistic and still put it in gray and called it red light.
Mm.
But I was like, I'm not, it's weird. It's weird to me. So I was like, I've got to change it. And I changed it to Chasing Love. But it fits because it focuses on the lesson and not the problem, not the trauma, not the thing that I experienced, but the lesson that I learned. So that's why I love it so much.
I mean, again, I feel personally blessed that I get some of the backstory and then I get to share it with others. But it really is like, I love it. And like, it's so good. Obviously, the most people know, like, I've been in my relationship for 8 years, 8.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously the project came out at a time that I'm like fully in love and like getting
Right. Big
married
happy.
and like things. However, for one, as everybody knows, all 8 years are not like a perfect cakewalk, and no relationship
Mm-hmm.
goes from like, oh, we've never had any troubles and things like that.
Yeah.
But like, it's still such an I'm gonna gush about it because it's really good, but it's like it's so impactful. Like I said, from end to end. I go really hard for like any music that I love, but like projects like this in general, because you don't get this. Like, you don't get a lot of full, like, fleshed out EPs. Like, a lot of times an EP is like, here are 5 songs that are on my hard drive and I need
Mm-hmm.
money. Or like, here are, these beats, which is like fine. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when people do that, or like, like in the age of like EPs and LPs and like kind of a playlist, or like however you drop music,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine to have that. But like, to be able to get a project that does what Chasing Love does, A, in 5 songs, but B, succinctly, but like with depth,
Yeah.
um it's really nice. And so that's why, like, I'm always like, when you find something, particularly with music or anything that you like, but when you find it, talk about it, and like,
Mm-hmm.
make sure to like share it and do stuff. Mini sidebar, all of the video or like the stills on YouTube, they're all red. So we didn't lose the red completely. And they're
Right.
shot and they have red in it. So it's not like the red was completely lost. But
Mm-hmm.
again, the album cover, when y'all go listen to the album, because y'all are going to do that because y'all are smart and y'all have good ears. You'll see that you'll see that the cover art is like, it's in black and white, but it's beautiful. And again, just talking
Thank
about the
you.
way that um artists of our time, like it's a lost art to kind of do the entire thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so at the beginning, when you were introducing yourself, so you said you had like elements of like jazz and soul. What is it like to be an artist that has a more vintage, like, or I guess like vintage sound, being like
Mm-hmm.
the way you use your voice again, because I've been blessed to hear AE live a
Oh,
bunch of
thank
times.
you.
Like the way you use your voice, and like basically like, do you feel like you have pressure to do anything more modern? Like you have like a pressure to conform in any way, or like you said, like changing up your style or doing anything? Like what's it like kind of having
Mm-hmm.
a big voice, and like I mean like big, but like big and like impact, big
Mm-hmm.
in ability, but then like like in the age of like where people again are just kind of like, I kind of sing in the background, or I throw auto tune on my voice, or I do that. Like what is that? How does that, I guess, like work in the way that you make your music or like have your artistry?
Um, I it's been I don't really put I kind of, well, I won't I'll take that back. I do kind of put pressure on myself because I started out when I started out as a I would do different like shows and gigs on the jazz side, and then as AE the Cool, I started off in hip hop spaces with
Mm,
rappers. So it'd be me and it'd be a bunch of rappers.
right,
And then on this other side, I would do jazz gig, live band, jazz gigs, and I love doing them both. But it's always difficult to merge the two,
right,
especially because my fear was always that, well, I don't want anyone coming thinking they're going to hear jazz,
right,
but it's about to get real, like R&B ish, like R&B hip hop,
right,
and then like and the meshing of the crowds and things, and I'm just like,
right,
oh, I want everybody to be comfortable. I don't want nobody like, oh
right,
my God, there's a hip hopper over there, how some
right.
people can be. And so I think it's more so about the journey of just like trying to bring all of that into one space and to have people understand, or even if they don't understand, just let them be okay with it, that
Right,
it's all me. Like I love doing jazz. I love hip hop. That's where I started, and so I will always have those elements in my music. And I'm just, but to my heart, like I'm an R&B girly, and so it's just
right.
I will all of these things will always be a part of me. And so I think it's just about, just the blend of it all, and how I want to go about doing that. I haven't really figured that out yet. It's just when I hear something that I want to do musically, I just go for it, and that's it. So I think the only time the pressure comes in is just like I always want my audience to enjoy their experience. And so it's like the blending of everything. It's just like y'all gonna have to get it. Like I'm trying to figure
Right,
out how to
yeah.
get them to get it. So like I just want to kind of understand how I'm going to do it so it translates better, if that makes sense.
It does, and I think like again, uh I say I'm not bragging, but I actually am, because I've been blessed to hear you multiple times. Um it's really nice to be able to go to a show and like it's kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna sing, I might scat a little bit, or I have like this, like whatever's going on, and then
Mm-hmm.
transition to be like, okay, I'm gonna do some hip-hop, or I'm gonna do something else like in the middle, or in the middle of the set, or however you're performing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that honestly it's just good, and it's refreshing to have in I even say in our area, because the scene, I've been like kind of tapped into, or I was way more tapped into the music scene, like I'll say 2016 to 2020, and then pandemic happened. And now I know things kind of, but again, the scene's changing. There are new artists, so they're like people that might have been around back then, or maybe not. But it's really nice to be able to know that, like, for instance, AE's performing, like, you can actually talk about the cool down, because I've never actually been to one of those. But knowing that you have like a regular gig. Like I
Mhm.
perform what once or twice a month at this place, and you come and you're either, like doing, you might do some original songs or covers or both. Um, and like talk about the cool down, since I've never
Mhm.
been, so you can tell people like where to find you on a regular basis. And then what's it like kind of, or doing that, so like having a regular gig in a space, um what's it like? Like, basically, what is it like to be like Hollywood, like a star? What's
Oh
it
my
like?
God. Well, the cool down is an R&B set curated by myself and Kagwana Cherry of Pop Up Augusta here in Augusta, Georgia. And it's just, I describe it as like, I know this may be really weird to say, but it's like, it's almost like my like praise and worship. Like we literally go, I think we maybe rehearsed once. Like everything we kind of do, like we have a list of songs. Like I'll send it to the band. I'll say like, hey, these are the songs that we're gonna do, and then like within that, it just goes to like other things. So I'll do a lot of mashups. We may do songs that aren't on the list. I let
Nice.
the band vibe out, and it's just a really good R&B experience for people to just come out who want to listen to live R&B music. And we've been doing it. We'll be going on its third year in February, and it's just now starting to have like a little community. We have regulars now. It's
Nice.
very cool. It's late night. It's a late night vibe. So the show doesn't start until 10. So we go from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning, and it's just a good vibe. Like people like walk in from like after dinner looking for something to do.
Right.
They'll happen
Mhm.
upon it. They'll stop in. There's hookah upstairs, so they can go smoke their hookah for the hookah people, and then you come back down and just listen to the music. And I love it because it just gives me the opportunity to sing the songs that I love. I get fussed at a lot because they want me to do my original music more, so I'm gonna try to throw a little more
Ah.
original music in there, more to give the people what they want. But I really, when I was growing up, my mom was very Christian. Like we're not listening to
Right.
none of that. And
Mhm.
so I didn't learn a lot of songs until like in my older age. So it's like me having this kind of newfound appreciation for all of this music that I didn't listen to growing
Right.
up. It's like I get to sing it and kind of make it my own and just sing songs that other people love and remember.
Right.
I do 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s to like present day songs. And I just it's just a vibe. Like I really just love doing it. Like it's something that I've always wanted to do. And I'm just now like sitting in it, like I'm really doing it because I've always wanted to have like a live
Mhm.
set where we just perform and everything's free flowing and just having a good time. So that's what the cool down is. And I don't consider myself a celebrity. It's very like I always feel very outside of myself. Um I just I like to do what I love and I like to know that people enjoy my music. So I'm very blessed to just be able to do what I do and to have other people um kind of drawn to it in a way that I wasn't really expecting. Like it all snowballed in the past maybe like 10 years, starting from like doing talent shows to like
Right.
what I'm doing now. And I'm always like trying to figure out, how to keep it going, how to make it successful, what's next for me, that I really don't even think about it. So it's like I don't see myself that way, but it's a very outer body experience because I'm like I'm out here thugging it out just like y'all, like trying to figure out how to make it work and why blueberries are $12 a bag, like and trying to figure out how like gas or grocery, like all that. So it's like it's outer body to be like, oh my god, it's 80 the cool, when it's just like I am just out here trying to sing, bro.
And that goes back to like, like I said, like the art is you, but the art isn't you. Like I'm not
Right.
always, like I feel like, and it's funny. that you mention it because like when I was, because there used to be a point in time that I was at all the shows and I was
Mm-hmm.
this and that and like um I realized that opening up the other episodes, I've
Mm-hmm.
been starting to do kind of like the journey because really what ended up happening is COVID came and I was like, well, like I because at the time I was actually like I was doing a lot of live events
Mm-hmm.
and like independent artist showcase. Like I was doing this, so like BINACT had became or it was like it started out as a blog and then I was like, oh, you know, I love independent artists. So like let's do this showcase. And then it became like events that like it became all these
Yeah.
things. And then during COVID, it was kind of like, actually, maybe I quit. Like it was just like, okay, maybe like it's time to hang it up because
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously nobody's doing events. And then one of my kind of like internet or like mutuals turned like friend was like let's do this podcast thing and I was like ugh no I was very anti podcast
Yeah.
um because it's you know like it was just kind of a lot to do and beforehand it was a little less accessible and harder to do virtually
Mm-hmm.
because of course with the advent of COVID like people just started recording like then there was Zoom and so we were recording the podcast on Zoom or whatever
Yeah.
and because it was easier but before that like used to have to do like have the audio equipment and like pull the audio and like what you know it used to be all that
Yeah.
so it just kind of happened at the right time and now I can't see me like doing anything else just because I'm not going back to events. Events are expensive and as you said the groceries and the rent and mortgages and the gas is high
Mm-hmm.
so like it's going back to oh yeah I'm gonna do like events and pay for them out of my own pocket and
Yeah.
like no
It's
but
so tough. It is so tough to do.
and like I said all that to say, like, you know, like people used to be like, oh yeah, well, like when's BINACT coming back? I was like, well, BINACT can't come back to the street, like Candace can't come back. Cause
Yeah.
like I can't. I don't have it. Like, if you don't want to find me on the internet, then
And I
maybe
won't be
you
there.
just don't want to see me.
You
Like
won't find me.
I'm not gonna be there.
No, it makes sense. It during the pandemic, like I really, well, post pandemic, I will say, it was really difficult for me to kind of find my footing because at the time, like right when the pandemic hit, like I was like plan I was on my way to New York, baby. Like I was trying to
You
I was
like,
like, okay,
boom,
let me get some things lined up because in the summer I'm going to New York and then the
boom.
pandemic hit. And I was performing so often and I was get like finally like gaining that traction that I needed and because performing was my main thing, I really didn't have anything else. I
Right,
really didn't know how to recover. And I think I spent a lot of time post pandemic trying to go back to normal, that it kind of ruined a lot of things that were going on. Like I lost my team at the time. I wasn't writing. I record here and there, but I just didn't know, you know, who or what I was without,
right.
you know, the performance aspect. So I had to take a step back. I took a minute to try to figure it out, and you know, I'm back, and you know, I'm still learning, but it's just it feels good to kind of be in a space again where I can show up as me and you know get that ball rolling and you know feel the way that I feel again at a time where I was like I don't know, you know, if I will, you know, get back to the level of where I was performing, and now I've surpassed that. So
Right.
it's really exciting to just be here and be releasing music again and you know being able to perform in front of people again, but it is, you know, it gets to be a lot. It really does.
It does. And speaking of performances, I want to bring
Mhm.
up because first of all, I have been to Den Music Fest a couple. Have I been twice? I think I've been twice, once or
Mhm.
twice in person. I've seen there've been a couple of virtual Den Music Fest. I've definitely seen like one or two of the virtual ones. Maybe I've only been once, but it feels like I've been twice. Either way, the first Den Music Fest I went to, I believe, was in 28. It definitely was in 2018.
Okay.
And I at the time was working in Augusta. Augusta. Like I had a location in Augusta.
Mm-hmm.
So I did the work trip and then drove the hour and a half or whatever it is from Augusta
Was
to
I there?
Atlanta. I think so.
I can't remember if I was. I
I
believe it was
know
either
Ebony
2017 or
was there because
2018.
we were doing like press. So I know for a fact Ebony was there.
Okay.
And I think maybe you were there too. I
I
think.
think I can't remember. I can't remember if it's 2017 or 2018.
It
But go
was
ahead. I'm
it
sorry.
was definitely 2018
Okay.
and that was the year cuz I remember there was an artist by the name of I think it was Sianka, like they had like this whole like R&B, well not like all R&B, but it was like R&B slash like hip hop songstress. So there were a
Mm-hmm.
couple of like women that opened up because I only actually saw a lot of the women and I had to leave because
Yeah.
I had to get back to work. And
Mm-hmm.
so I like stayed for like I think I stayed for like 2 hours and I was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
now I gotta make this trek back. So
Right.
um but yeah, so I went to Din Music Fest then, and Din Music Fest is it's got like a proper tagline, but basically it's a festival that is all about like the heart of the music and making
Mm-hmm.
sure to highlight independent artists, but it's not payola, it's not like, you know, nepotism where it's like, you got to know somebody to get on stage. It's
Yeah.
just a festival that like highlights really good talent and like spotlights like good, fun, interesting music. And so
Mm-hmm.
said all that to say this year Din Music Fest is going to be both in Atlanta and LA. I'm trying to get to LA. If I speak it from my mouth to God's ears, I
Mm-hmm.
really want to go to LA really bad because it's a few weeks after the wedding, but I've never been to LA, so I want to go to LA. I don't know how I'm going to get there. As we mentioned, everything's expensive, so still trying to make that work. But
Mm-hmm.
I heard that you may be performing at Din. Is that true?
Yeah, I hope so. Like I'm over here like you, like I'm trying to go, I'm trying to go, I'm trying to go, I'm trying to go. So, we'll see. We'll see when they, my flyer pop up. It's on, baby. I'm excited.
Because I mean, I'm just already. I don't care how I get, and if obviously if I don't go to LA, I definitely can make the trek to Atlanta. Atlanta's like 3 hours
Yeah,
away. Like that's doable. But I really want to go to LA.
right. I mean,
And
either way, I'll definitely be in the building for Atlanta. But I'm trying to go. Because I've never been to LA either.
never been.
So that would be like my first time. If like, so hopefully I'm trying to get there too. Look, we trying to
Let
figure it
go
out.
fund me for AE and BINACT to go to
Please.
LA for Din. Like
You remember my story about gas and groceries?
because because it's so expensive. Like
What? It's crazy. Like, how do these people survive?
and
I
like
don't understand. It's maybe because I've lived in a small town for so long, so the cost of living is significantly low. But it's like is it like when they're in Atlanta and they be scamming, or like I don't know
and I'm
what
just trying to
happens, but
figure
there's
out
no
like
way.
I was gonna say I'm trying to figure out the scams, but no FBI agent. I am not. I just
Oh
want
no.
to like I'm not. I just want to understand like because like I was actually just saying today. I was like, look, I love doing BINAC, but BINAC used to not cost me so much money, and now I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what am I about to do? Like
Yeah.
this room, like holding this stuff, like all this stuff, it costs money. And I
Yeah.
love doing it, but it also costs money. And every service that we use, all these subscriptions, they're like, we're going up. All of our fees going up
Yes.
because, and I like to say because we feel like it, like I'm sure businesses, got to do stuff too, but like, whatever. Like,
Yeah. I'm definitely trying to figure it out too, because it's like you spend so many years like making an investment, like a financial sacrifice, and just like living in Augusta. I love living in Augusta. It helps that it's cost effective to live in Augusta,
yep.
but at the same time that means if I need to go somewhere, there's travel expenses and like studio time and all merchandise and like all of these things, and you're just putting out money, and streams are like cents on the dollar. It's like, oh, I'm really out here for the love, but I truly believe it will, like it'll all be worth it someday.
Yep.
But I feel you.
Like it's very much like, again, I don't want to quit, but what, like, how, where do we meet in the middle? Like, what's
Where
the,
is the middle?
where's the middle? Because, like, again, Columbia, like, Columbia, I guess if I looked it up, like, it's not much bigger, but that was the same thing. Like, wanting to be like, there were times where even when I was doing stuff, it's like, maybe I just need to move to Charlotte, or maybe I need to move to Atlanta. And as one of my other, like, internet mutual homies, the Uncanny Imp, told me, Atlanta's not all that great. Like, I mean, no, it's fine, right? It's Atlanta, but like, they're an independent artist in Atlanta, and they, like, never, yeah, like, they were telling me that it's just very the same. Like, it's Atlanta, but it's still very much the same. Like, the bars or, like, venues suck, or like, trying to get in certain places, or, like,
Mm-hmm.
making a name as for yourself as an artist, like,
Right.
it's hard. And it's just, I mean, it's difficult, and it's difficult, artists are not, the times are hard, but kind of pouring yourself into something you love, like, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Like,
Right.
you're not going to maybe make like $1 million, or, whatever. It
I
would
just,
be
as
nice.
long as I feel like, as long as I know that I'm operating in my purpose, I know
Right.
it's be worth it. So I continue knowing that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's gonna work. And so, like, people running into people like you and the curators of the Den Fest, like, I feel like I've ran into like-minded people who
Right.
genuinely support the independent artists and the independent artist industry and the success of them.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the good deeds that you all do won't, like, there are blessings coming down the line. So it's just like holding tight for these things, because we're out here for a reason. And so it's all gonna work out.
Doing what we're supposed to be doing, and it's really, I know it's I know it's good, and I feel good doing it. And that outweighs a lot of times, again, when you're looking at your bank account, or like, it was so funny today, I forgot to turn off a subscription for a service for BINACT, and it charged me, and I was like, great. But yay. But like, like, but it's like, but actually, after this month, I'm going to turn the subscription off. But then after that, um, like, I'm going to turn it off. But then it's like, but like, we do this, right? Like,
Mhm.
this is what we love to do. This is what, like, walking in purpose is, and it's really great. Like, it's not always
And you
easy, but it's
can't, like,
good.
it's worth the investment. Like,
Yeah.
there are people out here who kind of like half-ass it, and then they're like, well, where are my results, when you're not putting in
Right.
the effort. And you got to put in the effort, and when you put in real effort, it shows. And it's always been important to me to give quality. So I know it may take me longer to put it together.
Right.
It may not, I may have to make a sacrifice here and there. It may not be the big blockbuster,
Right.
like, movie theater type of music video that I had in my mind, but it's still like, it's just focused on what am I trying to show, what story am I trying to tell the people. And as long as that, that translates, which, like, you're like, just hearing you talk about the visuals, like, it means the world to me, because it's like I had all these things that I wanted to do, but the budget just didn't work out. And so
Right.
we kind of had to make do. And me on my end, not that I was necessarily disappointed, because it did come out amazing, but it wasn't what that big idea that I had
Right.
in mind. But, from the outsider looking in, that has no idea, what my expectation that was here was for the idea that I wanted. Because, of course, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
having a tens of thousands of dollar idea on a few $1,000 budget, you're gonna have
Hey.
to make some sacrifices.
Right. We got to make some changes.
Exactly. And it's just what it is. And so it doesn't make it any less beautiful. It's just, I wish I could do the kind of the big budget things, but it still the most important thing is that somebody sees it and they think that it's they think that it's great and they connect with it and they think that it's so special, as special as I know that it is. And so that means so much. Like that's what matters at the end of the day. It's like that the art that hits and that connects, and that you all were able to receive what I was trying to say. And I didn't need to spend
Right.
all that money
Right.
to do
Mm-hmm.
it. And so I think as artists, like we get into that perfectionist mode to where it's like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this. When you really can keep it simple in it, and this entire year has taught me, like, because I didn't have the budgets weren't there a lot of times, so it's like, hey, you really ain't got a choice. You gonna have to thug it out this way or don't do it at all. But like if you want to do it, you're gonna have to do it as is with what you have. And so it's just focus on the art. Sometimes you focus on that art and keep doing, and don't let you know the expectations that you put on yourself you know stop you from the part that really matters, which for me is the music. So
Right. I need to take probably that last like 2 minutes and like bottle it up or put it in a voice note and put it in my pocket or something for when I need that. Cause like it's so easy to get, like you said, in that perfectionist space, or that, I'm going hard. When is it my turn? But like all that, like to get in that headspace.
mm-hmm.
And it's really good to just it's also good to like surround yourself with a community of people. And I always come back to like that too, like having a good community. um and I have like a plug for Culture Fix. I've been modding in the Culture Fix Discord server
Mm-hmm.
for some months now, and I'm taking a little break obviously to get married. But the it's really good to have a community of people where, like as artists, like because that happens where it feels like, you lose sight of what's going on, or you're again like
Mm-hmm.
you're more concerned about like how many retweets or something that I got, or insights. Like again, social media has like completely like warped the way that we do things, and it's really nice to just be super connected um to the art and like to what you're doing, and not even the after. Like sometimes it's good to just be focused on the product or like the
Yeah.
creative journey, and not be focused on like, well, when I put it out, hopefully Spotify put it on the playlist, and then, or like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like um yeah, I might personally just have to cut that out and like put it in a bow, or I
Yeah.
don't know, like play that. We talk about things that like technology wise, I need to get to like little stickers that play voice notes. Like I don't know how even that technology, like I don't know how we're not getting there yet, maybe, but like
Right.
I need that, cuz like it's hilarious cuz I actually don't like voice notes. Like because I
Mhm.
just prefer a phone call. Like
Yeah.
like it's kind of like if you left me like, and I get it, like I understand the reason for them. No,
Right.
like they make sense. It's like having a walkie-talkie, but like also if you can send me a voice note, you can call me, because on the hierarchy of communication, I like phone calls.
I'm a phone call girly too.
I'm
Because
like,
even if you send me the voice message, like if I'm somewhere where I can't listen to it, it's like now I gotta wait until I'm somewhere where I can like sit and listen to it. And then I've got, sometimes I don't have my AirPods. So I'm doing the phone like this. And I don't know what you're about to say. There may be people around me. Like it's a whole thing.
I want to, I think, and I could be making this up because I'm not a scientist, but I feel like it takes a different set of your brain, like just like even like between a call and a text. I feel like it takes a different part of your brain because like, and I don't know if it's just like the naturalness or the authenticity again of a phone call, because you're again like just like we're talking across from each other,
Yeah.
but like in a like if I would have done this interview, if I would have emailed you the questions
Yeah.
and then you wrote it back, like we probably wouldn't be at this tangent because conversation doesn't flow naturally. Like you would have answered
Right.
the questions and you would have like whatever. So yeah, like I just phone calls, I actually don't mind text, but like there's an asterisk next to text, because if you're texting somebody that like you also have to be like very conversational, because
Yeah.
if not, I also just need a phone call because you're boring.
Right.
And then I guess I very rarely use voice notes. The only time I use voice notes, like if I immediately need to say something, and I
Mm-hmm.
need you to hear it in my voice. And that is very rare because again, with people that I'm talking to, I will most likely call them.
Yeah. I know me, if it's something that like I don't have the time to text it and I need to tell you immediately, I'll do that. I'll do a quick little voice memo. And I know like I'm not sure if I can call you right now. I'll do the voice memo. That's literally the only time I do it. Other than that, I'll text you. But if I like to talk to you, I want to talk to you on the phone.
I still leave voicemails. I'm a person that still leaves
Oh
a
my God.
voicemail.
I don't do that. I will hang up.
um,
If it rings more than like 3 times, like I feel rejected and I hang up. I don't even let it get to
it's
the
very
voicemail part.
it's with people that I'm close to though. Like I'll literally and for that reason, like which a voicemail is essentially a voice note.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll leave it because what happens, like with my mom, I now have to leave voicemails because if I
Mm-hmm.
call her and then it was like, oh, I was trying to tell you something, if she doesn't answer, I will forget what I call
Yeah.
her for. And so and like that's actually how I got back into the habit of leaving because she was like, just leave a voicemail because you're good. Like if you forget or then she'll be like, we'll send a text. But like a lot of time, like I call when I'm driving. So I was like, well, I can't send a text. So that's how
Right.
I've gotten in the habit of like leaving voicemail so I don't forget.
Yeah, it's all crazy. Just
Yeah.
communication.
I do need I need them to figure out the technology for the voice note stickers for personal gain.
Yeah.
Because I need that. Like I need to hear that again because writing it down just wouldn't be the same. So
Yeah. No, I get it.
but yeah, first of all, I just want to thank you for spending a good little hour of your time chatting music and things with me.
Yeah.
And I want to leave the last couple minutes to ask, do you have anything coming down the pipeline that you want people to know about, or any little teasers that you can give information about for quote unquote Q4? Because that's where we'll be in like 5 days,
Oh,
which
I
is
know. Oh my gosh. Living your life in quarters just makes the year go by so much quicker. Because
whoa.
it's like in my brain, like it's already next year. And
Exactly.
you see how this is what I do every day of my life. Just wiping my little forehead with the stress of it all. But I have a single coming down the pipeline called Don't Let Me Go. I actually recorded it. I wrote it and recorded the song in Ghana when I went to Ghana last year.
Nice.
Yes. So I was able to do that and I performed it at a festival in Augusta that just happened this past weekend called Arts in the Heart. And I performed it for the very first time. And so it'll be out in November. And other than that, I'm just trying to regroup. I've done a lot of EPs. I have 3 EPs out, 3 EPs, 3 singles, I believe, as of right now. And my EPs, they're all art pieces. They're all things that you listen to all together. And I'm working on I may do another one for Valentine's Day.
Cute.
I may still give this sexy. I remember you talking about it. It wasn't time back then, but
But it's time now.
I may give the sexy a little bit.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And then I'm just writing, I haven't done an album yet. So I'm trying to like find like create the space, make the
Right.
time to like sit and think about what I would want my debut album to be, which is crazy because all this time, like I just haven't done it. Like they've all been EPs. And so right now I'm just in a creative space. I'm ready to write, ready to collab. And I definitely want to travel and perform more. I've performed a lot in Augusta the past 2 years, just kind of getting back into the swing of things. And, I'm starting to have more dates out of town. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, so just y'all continue to be locked in and support me. And I can't wait to show y'all what I got.
Lady, book her on the stages
Please.
after like Q1 2025. Or maybe some of Q4, she might be
Yeah,
available.
I haven't performed in Colombia in a while. In a minute. It's been a few months actually since I've been down there. So
Yeah,
I would
book.
definitely love to come back. I actually want to try to work out like a cool down situation
That, oh God.
in Colombia as
Ken,
well.
if I was back in the bag, because the venues are like they were a little bit like woo before, but like man, now all the venues like I don't know if you may have seen it, you may not, because it probably might be like citywide or countywide news, but like some of the bars here are like getting their liquor licenses. Like it's just like this all this stuff happening with
Yeah.
insurance and stuff. So
Like revoked, right? Like
yeah, or
yeah,
like
it's so scammy. Like I hate
yeah, or it's just like
like
stuff like that, like the places, even New Brooklyn, where it's like our long term music or long time music venue, like they're having issues, and it's just like, and then when you try to DIY stuff, because that's what I was doing. I actually d- uh, my event series, or it was called BINACT brings the beats. When I was doing it, I started out at a coffee shop and the owner Nick is like really really awesome and like allowed for the space,
yeah.
and he didn't charge very much. Like I think it was like $50 an hour, maybe $75 an hour, like to do it. But then again, like when you think about it, it just comes so costly to do, like to have a regular gig. But yeah, I gotta figure out, just we gotta find an end, to do some type of collaboration, because again, like why not?
Right.
Why not? We just try. But yeah, I am just so excited that we finally got to coordinate this,
Yeah.
and I just love waxing poetic about good music. And again, when I can talk to the artist that makes amazing music, that's even better.
Yeah.
But yes, so I'm going to link the EP Chasing Love in the show notes. I'm going to link AE's YouTube channel in the show notes. And that's it. That's it. Yeah, I'll link both of those in the show notes. And then again, follow directions, go listen, and then subsequently watch,
Yes. Yeah.
and then report back and tell me what your favorite song is. Um, you can 100% like all five, because I do. But yes, come back and tell me what your favorite song is, and yeah, let me know what your favorite video is too. Again, I have a heavy bias, but that doesn't matter. They're all really good.
Yeah, y'all come let me know too.
Yeah, yes, go follow her on the socials. I will link those as well. I believe Instagram is just AE the Cool, right? At
Yes.
AE the Cool. And so that's where you need to be telling us what your favorite song is and what your favorite video is. And yeah, I'm doing a little bit of housekeeping at the end of this episode, because this is actually going to be the last episode that I put out before I get married. So by next will be
Congratulations, by the way.
thank you, thank
It's
you.
exciting.
We'll be going a little dark. I'll say gray, not like completely dark. We'll be going gray for a couple weeks while we do that, and then we'll come back sometime in November with all of the with my co-host, and we'll make it an episode or two before we normally break for like Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that. So um you may see some live pop-up lives on YouTube. You may not. I've been trying to also figure out how it works on Instagram. But yeah, that's just the housekeeping pieces. And I'll go on ahead and wrap us up, because this has been the BINACT podcast, where we talk music, the people that make it, and the communities that listen to it. Thank you again, AE, for coming to talk and hang out. And we'll be back after I get married.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.